Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. I am Fox, and in today's video I'm going to spend the next 45 minutes petting this adorable puppy for you all. Now I'm only joking, of course I'm not going to do that. What I'm actually going to do is revisit an old build that one of my Twitch followers reminded me of yesterday. So JA217, he asked me a question in last night's stream, or possibly the night before, depending on when I release this video. Asking if I was going to be using my 3-piece Striker Eagle Bearer build, as it was his favourite build, and he's pretty much been using it ever since I posted it. Now, I'll be honest, I completely forgotten about that build. I created it way back in the start of TU10, so we're talking 10 months ago, maybe even 11 months ago now. But it was one of the first videos I ever posted, in fact, as a direct counter to the brand new Foundry Bulwark meta, which, if you'll remember, I think people were sat on 5% armor regen and, stupid amounts of armor, and it was pretty horrible. And essentially, the Eagle Bearer Striker combination gave me some ridiculous burst damage, if you can land your headshots, that enabled me to just do some crazy stuff. I've since put together a new version of that build for TU12 with some slight changes, and I'm happy to say that after just a few games testing, I'm already happy to get this out. It works crazy well. I'd completely forgotten that this was a thing, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to showing this to you all. So, what we'll do in the usual format of the video is ignore this puppy for one. We're then going to go through the build, the pieces that I've chosen, the stats, and then of course I will load solo queue into a conflict game. Let's get started. Okay, so this build is centered around two separate things, which is pretty much what I've just mentioned: Eagle Bearer and its Tenacity Talon, and the 3-piece Striker bonus. What I've done is made some changes to improve the overall synergy of the build. So the first thing I needed to do was find in terms of raw damage, the best 3-piece combo outside of the 3 strikers. So did I want to include Contract as Fox is? Is Fenris better as I'm using an AR? Was it better just to go for Sesko and Grupo for the crit chance? And luckily the combination that you see before you is the highest damaging combo if you have to factor in 3-piece Striker. I made a change to the chest talent. I've also gone for 4 blues with this build whilst updating it from Gunner to Sharpshooter, as you can see before you. For any of you that do remember the original video, it was a little bit different. I did watch that again recently just to see how I did it, and it's a little bit cringeworthy, I'm not going to lie. It's a very old video of mine, so I'm actually quite looking forward to updating this for you all and bringing you what is essentially Eagle Bearer Striker build 2.0. Yes, I'm not great with titles, but it does what it says on the tin. Now, if you do want to support the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe before we get into the build. If you go into the description below, you will see the timestamps for the build itself, so I can go through the pieces with you all, the stats of the build, terms of crit chance and so on, and then the solo conflict gameplay. You will see my Twitch channel if you do want to watch me stream. I haven't been streaming that much lately, but I will be more going forward. Mostly PvP content, admittedly, but I do occasionally do raids and legendary content, which will all be on there already. And then, of course, my Discord server finally, so if you do want to again get more involved with the channel and everybody else that follows it, don't forget to go in that description before you continue on. So, with all that out of the way, let's get started with the build. I did opt to go for Sharpshooter with this particular variant purely because Tenacity, or just the Eagle Bear in general, gives you a very large accuracy buff, but what it does not enhance is stability. Now, my original version with Gunner, I'm going to be honest, I actually think Gunner is better for this build, if I'm generalising. The reason that I've gone for Sharpshooter is for my personal playstyle, it suits me better. I prefer the TAC 50 in Conflict if I'm going to use the build there, as the minigun is pretty funny to use, but it's not ideal as you can't dodge roll or move very fast. The TAC 50 just one-shots anyone. It's a beast and you get 2 bullets. But it's mainly the 15% stability. The Eagle Bearer does have a bit of a kick, and that really helps to rein it in. But it also has a very powerful blind grenade with a very wide radius, and it gives us the ability to buff our teammates' headshot damage by 10% as long as we are behind them in terms of where the enemy is positioned. So lots of reasons to use it. It probably has one of the best armor kits in the game for PvP. Obviously the firewall armor kit will always be king, and if you're running perfectly efficient, the everyday carrier, then the survivalist armor kit is very good for healing your team on a tank build. If you haven't seen that video where I showcase just how powerful that combination is, by the way, then check the link at the top of your screen now, and then it'll be in the description below as well. Yeah, and then the reason that I like this one, so this is probably third best, I guess, is because not only does it cleanse all status effects when you pop the armor kit, very useful in a status meta. I don't know why status is so big at the moment, but we are essentially in that meta. So, but not only that, it gives you quite a large resistance to burn, bleed, and poison. Weirdly, for the next 20 seconds after popping the armor kit. So actually, it's really powerful versus status users. The Eagle Bearer, just to change its talent to PvP, you can see that the accuracy increases as we continuously fire up to 100%, although that is when you land shots. I don't think you can just fire into a wall unless I'm mistaken. We do have the attribute as the minor attribute is headshot damage, which is a shame as headshot damage is additive, but ultimately it just means that we will be getting more damage for landing headshots, which is quite literally the point of this build and the weapon. I would have preferred, you know, obviously damage to targets or damage to armor here, but we can't have it all. We then get the tenacity buff, so this happens if we kill with a headshot. Now the strength of tenacity, once it's procced, is increased by 1% for body shots and 5% for headshots. So what that means is that when you kill with a headshot, for the next 10 seconds you will take 40% less damage. Any damage, you will just take 40% less. Sorry, that's not technically true. 40% of it is delayed, so I guess it's kind of true, but you can increase how much is delayed, so it doesn't apply to you at all, until the end of that 10 seconds by landing those head and body shots. If you manage to get 3 kills, you can actually remove 100% of the damage, but you don't need to worry about that. You can get it down to 20% very easily just by getting 1 kill and then, you know, sort of shooting people in front of you. But just bear in mind that you will die if you take too much damage in that window. Hopefully you and your team have killed the people that are applying that damage in that window, but it's just essentially a bit of a get out of jail free card when moving on to your second kill. It can be very dangerous, and a lot of people will run this with Unbreakable, purely because it gives you that get out of jail free card kind of a second time over if your tenacity does hit a little bit hard mid-fight. I decided not to go down that route this time. I've gone for 4 blues, and the combination of concussion and obliterate actually offer a hell of a lot of synergy with this build, which I will come to in just a second. Ultimately though, Unbreakable is definitely the more popular choice with any Eagle Bearer build, so if you want to use that instead with this to help out with tenacity, go for it. The whole point of this is to get that kill very quickly, move on to your second kill, and by then your damage will have severely ramped up. In terms of your secondary weapon, as is the case with all of my builds, if you're running a long range weapon as your primary, such as an AR or a you know, like a sniper or a rifle or something, you want to use a short range secondary, if I can get my words out, so shotgun, SMG, that kind of thing, and of course vice versa. I just use the swap chain because it's pretty hilarious. 400% weapon handling means this, you can't even see the reload, like there's just no animation. It's like you're continuously firing. It's pretty disgusting. And yeah, it's like a laser as well. But yeah, honestly, I very rarely switch to this, so use whichever one you prefer. What I do recommend, as again is the case with all of my weapon-based PvP builds, is to either use the Orbit for the perfect finisher talent. This thing actually packs quite a punch. If you down and subsequently kill an agent with this sidearm, you will give yourself a huge buff for 15 seconds to your crit chance and crit damage. The only other choice in this slot would be a finisher pistol, finisher rolled onto the named card, which gives you the +1 skill tier. I don't recommend any of the other ones unless it's a very niche and specific build. So looking at the gear pieces, we are running 3-piece striker. The 2-piece gives us 15% weapon handling, which synergizes beautifully with a weapon that you need to almost exclusively land headshots with. As weapon handling, you know, at its 1-for-1 ratio now, gives us essentially 15% additional stability, which is actually 30% if you run with sharpshooter, by the way. 15% increased accuracy, 15% weapon swap speed, which is pretty pointless, and 15% reload speed, which is very powerful. It also gives us 15% rate of fire, which is directly a 15% DPS increase, just because you are literally firing faster. Now, for a lot of weapons, strikers is not meta, and don't get me wrong, this build definitely isn't meta. You would absolutely get more damage just for running contractors, Seska, Grupo, you know, all the usual stuff. But the point of this is the burst damage. And if you're going to use strikers with anything, there are 2 weapons that it pairs better with than others, in my opinion. One, this is for PvP by the way, one being the Pestilence, just because you apply your stacks much faster and you reload quicker, and of course the weapon is more accurate as well, and Eagle Bearer, because it has 60 rounds in the mag. So even though you're firing faster, if you were using strikers on a Lady Death build, which I see way too many people doing, and trust me, the DPS loss on that is too big, that's never a good choice, but I'll discuss that in a future video. A weapon that has a lower rate of fire with a high mag, which is usually an LMG, or in this case the Eagle Bearer, traditionally at 750 RPM and 60 in the mag, pairs beautifully with strikers, because you've got enough bullets to really take advantage of that 15% rate of fire and not just be reloading every second. But the RPM is high enough to give us that massive burst and pair very well with the chest and backpack talent that we're using. So yeah, this works really well. What you want to do with your striker pieces, you want to get 3 blue on the build, if not 4. I prefer 4, but I appreciate 3 is probably going to be more popular with this. Is to get every piece rolled to crit chance if you can, or crit damage if not possible, so that you can roll your 3 pieces of striker to armor. So you see here I've got all of these rolled in the same way. The reason it is important to hit crit chance cap with this build is, unlike my earliest version where I used Unbreakable for the survivability, now that I have the 4 blue, and you know my survivability is going to come from tenacity and just murderizing everybody's face, I've gone for Obliterate. This pairs beautifully with an Eagle Bearer on strikers. There is so much synergy here. You gain multiplicative weapon damage, 1% for each crit that you land, and don't forget we're firing 863, so basically 14 bullets per second are being fired from this weapon, ideally into their head. So you're going to build up these stacks very quickly, and this is 25% multiplicative damage, a huge bonus that is not even that far behind Glass Cannon. What you want to do as well is have the specific combination that I do, Fenris, Providence and Fox's Prayer. As I stated at the start of the video, it's simply the highest 3-piece combo for headshot damage on this build around that 3-piece strikers. It just buffs all of your base damage, your crit damage, your headshot damage, it all gets buffed by everything that we've got on here. So try and get this rolled to crit chance and crit damage as I have, and if you're not a fan of the Obliterate talent, then Unbreakable will be a great second choice. In terms of the backpack, we are running Providence for the 15% headshot damage, once again rolled to crit chance, crit damage, and then I've gone for Concussion. Again, I know this is kind of unbeknownst to quite a few people, but Concussion is a 2-part talent. It gives us the what I like to call before kill proc and the on kill proc. So basically part of the talent procs before you've even killed them, and then the second part procs after you've killed them. And they do stack with each other to give you identical additional damage to Vigilance, as it equates to 25% multiplicative damage. 10% just for landing headshots into a player, and then when you kill with a headshot, you gain a further 15% that stacks with the original 10%. So when you move on to the second kill, all of a sudden, and this is where the synergy comes in, you have 15% increased total weapon damage from the headshot kill. You already have loads of Obliterate stacks built up because you know you've already been killing the first person, and you've got tenacity procced, meaning your damage taken in that second kill will be lower. So not only are you taking less damage on what is essentially a 4 blue build, so you're going to be pretty hard to kill. You've got loads of additional damage from Obliterate with this before kill proc. You've got tons of additional damage with this, essentially Vigilance worth, because you've got the 15% from the first kill, and then moving into the second kill you're going to keep reprocking that 10%. I know it says 1.5 seconds, but that refreshes with every new bullet, so it's basically permanent as long as you can hit your headshots. Obviously, if they've got Vigilance, they're going to lose their damage instantly, and they're going to go down to 0. You're going to be at least 10%, if not 25%. And you combine that with Obliterate, and all of a sudden we're talking some pretty disgusting, damage numbers. By utilising the 8% damage to targets out of cover from Fox's Prayer, we're also taking advantage of the ability to do more damage to enemy skills and shields. And this is the reason why I chose it over Contractors, which give 8% damage to armour, so technically it's the same multiplicative figure. 8% damage to armour does not work against deployed skills, although it does work against enemy shields. And it does not work when the agents are in their health. We have the up to 21% health damage anyway, so that's fine. The damage to targets that are covered just works against everything. Shields, headshots, body shots, health, armour, deployed skills, you name it, it works. So it's just the best in slot for this build. And finally, in terms of the skills that we are using, these are completely your decision. I went for the Decoy and the Booster Hive. I feel that the Booster Hive is probably one that I would recommend the most, because it not only cleanses all status effects for us and our team, alongside the medkit that we can use with Sharpshooter. This will be even better if you're running Gunner, by the way. But it also gives us a 22% buff amount based on the additional 10% stim efficiency mod I've got here to weapon handling. So we are further improving our Eagle Bearer's capability to hit headshots, and it gives us resistance to those same status effects, 22% for the next 5 seconds. So Booster Hive, in my opinion, is just, it's an absolute must. If you ever play with a 4-stack or you load solo into a game and nobody's running one and your skills are quite flexible, you need to be getting a Booster Hive on. They are way too good not to be using in a 4-man team. Just one of you needs it though. You can use a shield here if you want to drop this down to 3 blue. It really doesn't make a difference. Pick the skills that you like. For the most part, if I'm not using a shield build, I'll either use the Booster Hive and the Decoy, or I'll use the Jammer and the Booster Hive, which is an even better counter to lots of skill-heavy teams. So that's the build just there. Lots of, I know I kind of went through it in probably a bit too much detail, but there is so much synergy with this build, and even though it is definitely an off-meta build, just trust me, if you can hit your headshots, this thing is ridiculous. If you have a quick look at the stats before I move into a PvP game, you can see that we are currently sat at 37.2k PvP weapon damage. That's my per bullet damage, but that's not factoring in, headshot damage or any of the multiplicative damage bonuses that we've just discussed. Crit chance, very importantly so, is at 60%, which needs to be at cap for obliterate to work. Crit damage obviously seems low because we're running a 3-piece gear set, so we're definitely taking a hit there, but we don't need to worry about it because headshot damage, like crit damage, is also multiplicative. So by shooting into their head, you're going to be doing a ton of additional base and crit damage. No damage to armor on this build, but we do have the health damage from the weapon, and whilst you can't see it here, we also have the 8% damage to targets out of cover as a little bit more multiplicative damage. We only have a 1.9 second reload time, which is crazy fast for an AR. Most of them are 2.3, 2.4 seconds. So you can see here, because of all the weapon handling that we have on the build, we have crazy amount. I mean, look at this, 50% additional stability, 35% accuracy, and that's going to go up to 100%, by the way. 35% reload. Yeah, the handling is really going to enhance what would potentially be the weaknesses of this build. And because we have 4 blues on the build, I have 1.474 million armor. No armor on kill, just because I'm not running gunner, but if you prefer that, you're going to get a little bit back every time, which is always nice. And then everything else is just based on my specialization and maxed out watch level. So there it is. Let's load into a conflict game now so I can show you all just how well this plays. Right, so we have loaded into Stadium. Let's see how we get on. I've not quite looked at what we're up against, so hopefully there's not too much status or anything that's going to make me look terrible. I mean, I say the same in most of my videos, but if I perform poorly on this build, then, you know, don't make your judgment based off of my gameplay, because I'm not the greatest player out there, and there are some of you that will use my builds way better than I do. I also like to keep the footage unedited for the most part. Well, I'd say for the most part. I always keep it unedited in the actual conflict gameplay, because I do like to showcase where a build is weak and where it's strong, and every build has its weaknesses. How is he not dead? My boy's going for it. Ah, no! They got behind us! That's a shame. Down 3 lives already? Oh, 2 of our players. Ah, we've got a level 10 and a level 1. Okay, this game might be a little bit one-sided, unfortunately. It's, again, Massive just have zero clue on how to matchmake. And there's nothing against the players on my team. They're clearly just new to conflict. So obviously, going to make this game a little bit more rough, but we'll see how we get on regardless. Really what I want to showcase is the 1v1 capabilities of this build. I think that guy was on a sniper or a rifle or something. Right, there we go. So that's what I'm talking about. That kind of instant burst.
Agent down.
There we go. So that's because I had all of my buffs active. Now I've got to get my armor kit in here because my tenacity might kill me. Ooh, that was a big chunk. So this is where Unbreakable might be a better choice. But you saw there, this is a 4 blue build. This is an off-meta build. I'm not using Contractors, Foxes, Seska, Group, Hokaitas, all that good stuff. And it works. Oh, I'm getting shot from the left. What was my teammate there? They just jumped down below, didn't they? I've got to watch our 6 again here, because there was a guy that tried to get the old razzle-dazzle on us. I'm going to just keep my eyes open here.
Agent down.
Oh, he just got sniped from somewhere.
The enemy has acquired the boost.
Where's that guy?
An agent needs assistance.
Terrible accuracy, but we'll take it. We'll take it.
Rogue defender drone detected.
Got a nice amount of obliterate stacks wrapped up now, which means our damage should be a lot higher. And that is what I love about this weapon. That, damn it. That 60 in the mag combined with strikers is fantastic because you get the burst damage, but you're not reloading too frequently. I've got no armor kits left, so I need to protect these guys from a distance. And watch my 6 as well, because I do like to keep pushing that flank. There we go, we've got our armour back, so that's good news. Don't know where that sniper ended up going, but...
Agent down.
Another player just here. I need an armour kit so badly.
An agent needs assistance.
Let's get out of it. Ah! Yeah, I knew I was going to make that. I've got a teammate sat back there, but he's not engaged yet.
Agent vital signs 0.
I'm sending you a specialized.
So yeah, it's yeah, like I said before, just let me know what you think in the comments. I've really been enjoying how this plays. I love the extra stability. Just all of the handling that I get with Eagle Bear just makes it really easy to hit my headshots, at least for somebody with the aim that I do. I mean, you can see that my aim isn't great. You know, I've never been great on a... If I was mouse and keyboard, I'd be having a field day with this build, I really would. So for you PC players out there, you might do better with this.
Supply drop being claimed.
I can't open
by
this correct.
friendly.
If you are confident in your headshot aim and you can land the majority of your shots, play this build. If you want to try it with more reds, as if you're foaming. Made a bad push hit. Coming team, I'm coming. Oh, but that's what I'm talking about.
An agent needs assistance.
You don't have many reinforcements left.
How has he just shot me clean through this?
Immediate medical assistance needed.
I would have won that fight if he hadn't have just shot me right through that ambulance. I do not know what just happened there, but that bullet literally came through the centre of that ambulance and took down like a third of my health. What's that all about?
Hang in there.
It's a teammate.
Immediate medical assistance needed.
Woo! Robbing all the kills. I don't know if that works with tenacity, if it gives you the extra. Who knows? Either way, I need to wait for my armour to kick in. Oh yeah, the two guys on my team having a bit of a rough game. That's fair enough, that happens. They're newer players, so we can't blame them.
Rogue drone detected.
Shame I don't have my tac ammo.
Boost.
Just so much damage, like on a 4 blue off meta build.
Drone detected.
Oh, okay, I wasn't expecting them both to have come out of cover. I thought they'd be both popping their armor kits in, maybe hoping to catch one, and also hoping that my 3 teammates that were right next to me would have seen them as well.
Vital signs 0. Boost on.
Ah, as if we all died! Team!
Down.
Never mind. You can't help the teammates you're given if you're solo queue, but hopefully that footage was enough for you guys to get a good feel for how the build plays, the kind of damage numbers you can expect and so on. Let's have a quick look at the leaderboard and then we will bring the video to a close. Finish on 11 kills versus 4 deaths and 1 assist, 51 million damage, which is by far the highest in the lobby. That is, I mean, more damage than the rest of my team combined, but, you know, I'm not going to point fingers there because we do have some brand new players. You know, that happens sometimes. It is what it is. As I said before, the matchmaking in this game is shockingly bad. It really doesn't pair people very well at all. But, you know, that's a video for another day. I'm happy with that performance for a build that is absolutely off meta. Try it out for yourself. You saw that my accuracy is average at best. If you have a semi-good aim, this build will do wonders for you. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.